Hello, everybody. We're back again to talk about the second actual Typo Negative album. Because, like I said, Origin of the Feces is a fake live album, which I think, if I'm remembering the details correctly, was basically like a middle finger to a contractual stipulation that they had to make a live album, and they really didn't want to, so they faked it. And um, amusingly enough, like the crowd sounds are just like them, and they're heckling themselves basically and talking shit. It's pretty funny and weird. It's not necessarily my favorite thing to re-listen to, though. Like, I don't like throw these tracks on just because. It's like if I want the experience of listening to it again, that's typically like I'll just listen to the whole thing. And there's a couple of cases where like I enjoy the differences in the way that they play those songs, because it's the same songs from the first album, which is another reason I'm not going to cover it, because it's pretty much the same thing again. But there are some interesting differences that they then did in the real live performances when they would play these songs live. But anyway, just wanted to mention that real quick. So we're talking about the 1994 album Bloody Kisses, which is fantastic. It's so good, and it contains some of their very iconic, noteworthy songs. Now, specifically, I'm looking at the Top Shelf edition on Spotify, which has, I believe... Yeah, okay, so there was a couple of versions of this album. There is the original album, which is like 14 tracks. There was... I don't know what it was called. It had a different cover, because the cover is like two women, and they're... like... I mean, probably a lot of people already know what the cover looks like. I'm using the thumbnail of the one that I owned, but that's not like on the Spotify editions. But whereas the one that I use in the thumbnail, it's like they're kissing. In the other one, they're like not quite kissing. They're like near each other, and it's like they're going to kiss, but that's not quite happening. But the one where they're kissing is the one that I had. It has less tracks because they got rid of the in-between stuff that's not really songs, like Machine Screw and Fay Ray Come Out and Play. And they also got rid of the stuff that doesn't really fit, which would be like Kill All the White People, and I think We Hate Everyone. Yeah. So, here's the thing about Bloody Kisses, is as originally presented... Oh, by the way, the top shelf edition includes the radio-friendly version of Christian Woman, and also a remix of Blood and Fire. And also a song that did not appear at all on the original album called Suspended in Dusk. But anyway, sorry. a lot of stuff to talk about here. Hi, Katie, come here. Cat Bootsy just came in here. Anyway, so this album, as originally presented, is a little odd to me. Now, maybe I'm biased because I heard my alternate release version first, right? Because I had no idea that there was multiple versions. I just went to the store and I bought one, right? Like, I didn't know. But that one feels more thematically sort of consistent. Because the songs Kill All the White People and We Hate Everyone stick out against all of the other songs. They are totally a different style. They feel like they would fit more on the first album. But still not quite. It's weird. Like, they don't fit this album. So I don't know the story about the version that I owned when I was younger, about whether that was the band's decision to release an alternative version that got rid of those songs because it was like confusing to people or something, or maybe they had an artistic reason to do it that way, or if it was the record company. Like, I have no idea, but I kind of prefer that track list, the one that I knew first, which again could be bias, but it just kind of feels better that way to me. Um, but for the purposes of this, despite me using the thumbnail for the other version, I am talking about the top shelf edition here. Because this does include the original track list, but it also adds Suspended in Dusk, which, like I said, was not on the original. So anyway, geez, a lot of explaining there, I suppose, but anyway. So as for the tracks on this album, we have some super classic and just wonderful Type O Negative music here. Christian Woman is an excellent song. Black Number One is, I think, still their most well known. I'm not sure, actually. I mean, this won't necessarily indicate, but according to Spotify, their number one played is "I Don't Want to Be Me." But I think like, because I think Black Number One, like the music video got around and stuff. Like I think that is their most known, despite the plays on Spotify. I'm not sure though. But fucking excellent song. We've got like the cover of Summer Breeze, which leads into Set Me on Fire, which is I think a wonderful song. Despite its simplicity, and that's one thing that's interesting about this is there's at least two songs on here, unless I'm forgetting one. But yeah, Set Me on Fire and Can't Lose You. They do songs like this on some of these albums where they're very simple and arguably repetitive maybe, but it just sort of works. It's just sort of about the experience of the song, and it's not necessarily about like lyrical depth or complexity necessarily. Because I think the only lyrics in Can't Lose You is literally just that. No, I can't lose you. And it's like, I'm pretty sure there's no other words other than, oh no, right? But it's funny because, like, on paper that sounds awful to me. But somehow in the finished product it totally works. So... My top three was a little tricky on this one because I think my top three picks are pretty solidly my like the ones I would listen to the most on this album. But there are other songs on here that I think are great and I listen to them a lot as well. My number three is going to be Set Me on Fire. Again, it's very simple, but it's just like, I don't know. It's got such a what is the word I'm looking for? Shit. It's just kind of like nice. It's pleasant. Because, I mean, Type O Negative, a lot of their music is pretty, like, crushingly depressing, especially on World Coming Down. That album is you shouldn't listen to that if you're feeling sad, probably. But this song, Set Me on Fire, is just kind of like a nice expression of a more positive kind of feeling of, like, I just really dig this woman, that kind of thing. So I like that one a lot. It's a nice contrast, honestly, to a lot of their, like I said, more depressing music. And my number two pick is going to be Christian Woman. It's an example of how they can combine like beautiful music with occasionally like maybe perhaps offensive like song topics with like some dark humor for sure, and still it somehow comes across as like really pretty and a little erotic, like depending. They're just such an interesting experience, and that's the thing is like my favorite genre might be Type O Negative, not whatever music they're not whatever genre their music is considered, but them specifically. Because even if you had a band that sounds very similar to them, it would not be the same experience at all. Because Pete Steele had a way with sort of creating all these like strange combinations of feelings in a song, and again, that voice is irreplaceable. You just can't you can't. That'd be the main thing. Is like even if I found a band that made very similar music to Typo Negative, it's like they wouldn't have the voice. They wouldn't have Pete. Even if they tried to make their instruments sound the same and they tried to like compose songs in sort of the same way, it just wouldn't be the same. Truly one of a kind frontman. Very, very. Also, he was really tall. He's like 6'7" or something. Big, tall fucking guy. So yeah, what a true, once in a lifetime person to be in this position. But anyway, yeah. So Christian Woman, it's just such a awesome song. And then my number one in this case is the obvious choice, I suppose, but it's Black Number One. It's got to be Black Number One. The album version is 11 minutes long. I know there's like shorter versions that get through the song much quicker. I will always just listen to the full length song because it's so awesome. It's such an experience, and that's how I would describe a lot of Typo's music. Is they are an experience. Also, I should point out, it's one of my favorite Typo albums, which I know there's not that many, so it's kind of weird to say that because I like all of them. So obviously, all of them are my favorite Typo Negative albums, I guess. But it's more solidly towards that top spot. But it's a treat that this video should be going live on my birthday, December 8th. And I get to talk about one of my favorite albums of all time while doing so. Now, it's not a perfect album, as I've described in the past, where I like every single song. Because if we're going to talk about the regular version of the album, I'm not that hot on Kill All the White People or We Hate Everyone. And not because they're I do like We Hate Everyone, but I'm not really into Kill All the White People. It's a little too repetitive. But We Hate Everyone is, it's pretty cool. I mostly don't like the first half of it, though. I come for the second half. When I listen to that song, I'll often just literally move the little play needle to hear that last part. When it gets slower, that part's really cool. But also off of the version that I bought, the one with the alternative cover art, I'm not really that big on Suspended in Dusk. I'm not saying it's a bad song or anything. I just don't really care for it in particular for whatever reason. But yeah, aside from those three tracks, which one of those, like I said, wasn't on the original release, and then the other two were not on the release that I bought, so it's a little kind of... This is an odd album to talk about nowadays, now that Spotify has the Top Shelf edition, which combines the two, sort of. Yeah, for the most part, every other song on this album is really great. Too Late Frozen, although Too Late Frozen is in a spot where I know this video is going on a bit longer, but hey, I'm talking about Typo Negative, so it's fitting for the fact that they make longer songs, I guess, that I have to make longer videos about them. But the song Too Late Frozen has an unfortunate similarity with my perception of it as the song, the Tool song, I think it's Bottom from Undertow. Both of these songs have something in common that I wish wasn't the case, where I really enjoy it for the first 2 minutes, and then the song switches what's going on, and I don't really enjoy the rest of the song after that, because in the case of the Tool song, it comes in so awesome with this fucking amazing guitar and shit, and I really enjoy the pacing, and then it slows down and becomes basically a completely different song. And the same thing happens with Too Late Frozen. And in Too Late Frozen's case, I like this song better overall, but I still I mostly enjoy listening to it for the first like the first part that's different energy, and in this case, it comes back towards the end. But yeah, it's like sandwiched with that part in the middle where I'm just not as into it. But Blood and Fire is also good. Like this album is great. It's a bit of an odd experience, certainly, but it's really good. So anyway, I've talked for way too long, and I'm sure I went on like off-topic rants. I don't know. I barely remember what I'm talking about like 2 minutes after I switch topics. So I think we'll call it quits here. But listen to this album. There's lots of albums in this world. I recommend listening to this one. It's really good. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video where we'll talk about October Rust, which, spoilers, is my number one pick for favorite Type O Negative album. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and thank you for watching.